In my previous clip, I spoke about the importance of nurture between a mother and a child and the significance of our role in creating a secure bond, like that circle of security, which will really set our children up for the rest of their lives. And for some of us, we might actually feel a little bit overwhelmed or discouraged because we grew up without that and it feels like a foreign concept, or how do I even start? Or we received the message as a mother, we need to make our children as independent as possible. You know, we're spoiling them if we attend to them too closely. So I would like to share an acronym called REACH with you and teach you actually how to reach for your children on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis. The first three come from attachment theory, which is R stands for responsive, to be responsive to your children. E is to engage. A is to be accessible. C is to coach them. And H is to hold. So let's begin with the first part of REACH. Firstly, we need to be able to respond to our children. And sometimes we would respond to their basic needs. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I need a new t-shirt. But it's actually more about responding to what's underneath, what's really happening in their hearts and minds. And in 1 Corinthians 13, it talks about love is patient. And that is what we often need with our children because they're not communicating exactly what they need. But a guiding principle I find is so helpful is every deed has a need. So sometimes when you look at their behavior, we need to ask ourselves, what is underneath that? And then seek to respond to that underlying need. And we need to be able to ask the Lord for wisdom for that. We need to ask them questions and say, and investigate a little bit more and try and reach for them and respond to what their heart is actually needing. And the second one is engage. So reach is R is respond, E is to engage. Now, the enemy of that can be our phones, hey? It's like a magnet, not only for children and teenagers, but actually for us as adults. And so the enemy to engaging is sometimes busyness. And life is busy. It's never actually not going to be busy. Life is full of admin, it's work, it's household chores. But we need to recognize that many things can actually wait, but time with our children can't. And there's a bit of a fallacy out there that says, quality time. We need quality time with our children. It's actually quantity time and quality time. Kevin Leman talks about, he's an author on parenting, he says, have enough quantity time and you'll get quality time. We need to recognize that our children need time. And we need to be able to be face to face, eye to eye, heart to heart in those moments that they need us. We need to engage with them. And sometimes we find being absorbed by TV or with other demands can actually rob us of the moments that they need us to engage with them. And it builds security. And just on a practical level, I find that sometimes parents go, but my children don't share with me. I believe we need to start with sometimes doing the things that they enjoy. Doing those things which opens the door to them sharing more deeply. Like the other day, one of my children began to share with me on the step of our pool. We'd played a whole game of Marco Polo, had a lot of laughter, and then he began to say all the things that were being spoken about at school that he felt really unsettled by and wanted to ask me about. But the bridge of connection was already beginning to be built through just engaging in a place that he enjoyed. And so sometimes that takes us putting our own things aside, but it is so rewarding. And just on that note, if say our children get into the car and they say, I've had such a junk day, it's been terrible. Our nature is to solve that. Let's just get you an ice cream. Let's forget about that. But we need to actually engage with them about just the little hint, the little cue they're sending out to us. The A of reach is being accessible. Our children are basically wanting to find out from us from the moment they're born, actually. Are you there for me? Can I count on you? Are you a safe place for me? And this can be hard when we're busy. And, you know, I just remember when my son Seth, he was 7, when I had 2 little children. They were 17 months apart, so it was like having 2 babies. Very, very busy. Bottles, nappies, washing, food all the time. And I remember I always was seeking to connect with him, and I would say to him, do you want to play table tennis? Or in the breaks that I had, because when they were napping or something, or they were being looked after. And he would always say, no, I'm busy with something else. And then he would, when I'm busy, like making supper or sorting out the babies, he'd say to me, Mom, can you play table tennis? And I'd be, no, I've reached for you. That was your moment. It's enough. And, you know, I had been praying over that season for God to actually help me to find ways to bond with Seth when he was small. And I woke up one night and I felt the Lord say to me, as clear as a bell, you need to respond when he reaches for you. You need to take those precious opportunities and put what you can down so that you can connect with him. It really changed how I approach those moments. I am in no way promoting a child-centered world and a child-driven timetable at all, but it's more of just being sensitive as to when can I put something aside so I can respond to my child's reach. And then the fourth one is C, coach. Our job is to coach our children. And you know, sometimes a coach is on the side of the field shouting instructions, and in a sense there's a bit of a distance, but that's not the coach that I'm referring to. A coach that comes alongside our children. In the scripture it talks about our job is to train our children up in the way that they should go. And you know, daily there's opportunities to get into their world of what they're facing, whether it's engaging with other children, whether it's internally, what they're thinking and feeling, to be able to coach them with the compass of the word, with regards to attitudes and responses and decisions. It's a precious time in their lives where they are like an open book to be conformed to the image of Jesus in the trials that they face. I find such a wonderful time is when our children face difficulties, to begin to help them to see what is God actually working in you in the season, but I come alongside them. And another part of coaching is helping them, not saying, you know, you need to be responsible for everything and your, you know, responsibility is top of my priority. Yes, it is. But at the same time, being sensitive to the pressures that they feel and their weaknesses, forgetfulness, and, you know, coming alongside them and helping them, coaching them, helping them to remember things, making sandwiches for them. When I know when Seth was writing matric, I would often I know it's hard to sit there, I would bring him little treats and find out how I can make him hot chocolate. We need to be able to coach them in discipline by coming alongside them. And then lastly is to hold them, kind of my favorite. In Isaiah 40, verse 11, it says about God, it says, he tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and he carries them close to his heart. He gently leads those that have young. There's a lot of affection coming from God towards us, and we need to grab every opportunity to hold our children from as young as they are, from when they're born, all the way up until adulthood, finding opportunity to be affectionate to them, touch them, hold them, being a safe, secure circle of security that they can then face the chaos of life in a much more equipped manner.